So this week is a little bit different. I ended up having, I have no power in my office with the rain and some other things that happened. We're waiting for someone to come over here and do that. So I wanted to still do the weekly forecast. I was about to upload it whenever my computer turned off. So I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to make this recording on my phone. I will post the chart and everything else with this, but I won't be flip-flopping back and forth between this and the chart like I usually do because I can't. So a little bit about this week. At the end of this week, on the 29th into the 30th, we have a new moon happening in the sign of Gemini. And so this is going to be our first new moon since the eclipses happened. And this is really breathing some fresh air into the dynamics that are happening during this week, right before the new moon happens. And this week, what comes to mind is courage and freedom and a conscious effort to continue the work that we're here to do. So let me jump into this week's horoscope. So on the 23rd, which is today, Monday, Mercury has retrograded back into the sign of Taurus. And in the sign of Taurus, Mercury really wants us to slow down and be able to internalize the things that are happening on the external. And so there can be a slowing of our thinking or putting together thoughts of what we're wanting to articulate. And this is because the sign of Taurus is really wanting us to ground in our values and to ground into the feeling nature of things. And so for some of us, it can be a little bit hard to internalize and articulate what's happening, how the external is affecting us and having us feel the feelings that come up with the external events or the external situations that are coming about for us. And this is all for us to slow down and to really take in what this content is and what this is trying to reflect for us. So on the 23rd today as well, we have Mercury conjunct Sedna. And Sedna is very much about our consciousness. And Sedna here with Mercury that's retrograde conjuncting Sedna in the sign of Taurus is really about getting us to ground in the energy and to be able to allow it to further our consciousness. So to expand our consciousness. So really sitting with something and allowing the feeling of it to come through as a way for us to expand our consciousness. We also have Venus conjunct Eris in the sign of Aries today on the 23rd. So Eris is the goddess of strife and discord, and she is conjuncting Venus that's in Aries. And so this can be a day where some of us are feeling like maybe we're taking on blame or taking on too much, or things that are internalized can create a little bit of discord for us. In order for us to get to the bottom of how we're feeling, and ultimately this is going to be centered around our values. So maybe something externally is happening and you're now seeing that it's not in alignment with your values. And so the sense of being a group of one, Aries, of standing in your freedom to think however it is that you need to think is really potent on this day. And whatever is brought about, if it does happen for you, it's in order to expand your consciousness and to show you that you can rely on yourself. More than anything, it is about relying on oneself. So I wanted to just kind of state about that. I love working with the asteroids, so whenever I talk about them on here, I really love teaching about them. I think that they give extra flavor to whatever's going on astrologically. They just kind of fill in blanks. One of my teachers, she says that asteroids sweeten the pot, and I find that this is true. So it just gives even more attention to detail about maybe some of the things that are going on astrologically and reflecting back in our lives. So there can be this discordant energy. Eris conjuncting Venus right now for me was water getting into an electrical outlet, and now I don't have power. So I'm having to really ground in my energy and to come up with new ways to go about doing this video. And so it's about really just going with the energy, and that this is an externalized energy. But because Venus is here, it is internalized because of the inner nature of Venus. And so it's really us getting creative in different ways of thinking, even if there's some discordance that happens or comes about from that. And that you can still ground in who you are, and that that's okay, and you can have the courage to be who you are. So tomorrow we have Vesta in Pisces. She enters Pisces. It's at 0 degrees, so super potent Pisces energy. And the moon conjuncts Vesta. And so when the moon and Vesta are in conjunction, it's really about putting our dreams into action, but there can be this fogginess around it. And so Vesta's there to have us continue to devote ourselves to our dreams and our spirituality and the things that don't see tangible, to make them concrete into reality. And so it's really just energizing this potent energy to make what isn't reality now structured and into reality, and to continue to devote ourselves to that, and devote ourselves to our calling and our work that we do. And it's about being of service to others. So if you're having any type of ideas lately about how you can be in the service industry, that doesn't just mean, I'm not talking about waiting or retail. I'm talking about just being of service to others and humanity. Then this is a time for you to really devote yourself and align yourself with what that is and how to make it into a concrete reality for yourself. This is really beautiful. There's a spiritualizing quality to it, that kind of karma yoga quality to it. So it's also about really allowing the truth of things to be seen, and to devoting yourself to the truth. So if you've kind of fallen off the wagon a little bit in regards to that, tomorrow will be a really beautiful day for all of us to get back on track. So then on the 25th, the moon and Mars will both enter into Aries. And so this really signals for us to start putting those things into action. Mars loves being in the sign of Aries. It's its natural ruler. This gives so much energy for us. It gives so much more clarity. So if some of us have been feeling a little foggy, a little bogged down, we're going to be more energized. We're going to be feeling excited about getting things done and moving forward. So all of these ideas that all of us have been getting and garnering, it's now time to put them into action. And this really signals this on this day. So on the 27th, Pluto is going to be squaring Venus, and Pluto is in the last degrees of Capricorn, and Venus is in Aries. So it's very much, I've talked about this, the state of becoming, but in this square to Pluto, it's really like some of us could be feeling really afraid, but there's also this sense of responsibility. And so this is a day where responsibility is going to far outweigh our fear. And so I talk about this all the time. I quote this Mike Tyson quote so much. I love it. It's just, you can't get rid of the fear. You've got to ride it. And a lot of times fear is an indicator for us to lean in instead of stepping away. We're really afraid of the things that haven't happened most often, or we're afraid of the things that we've never done before. And so this square is really a call to action to start implementing the things that we feel we have a responsibility to do, to now do them. If these things we have a sense of responsibility and they're in alignment with our values and who we are as a person, then there could be this like crisis in consciousness that happens that started at the beginning of the week on the 22nd, that now there's this feeling of needing to plow through, to push forward. So don't resist, take the action. It's the square. So it is really about how and what you want to do in the society that you find yourself in, and how you want your values to line up with what that is that you're wanting to do. So there's all of this beautiful energy for really getting all your ducks in a row. So that way, whenever Mercury goes direct next month, and then is out of shadow, you can really start paving the way to do these things. But right now, it's about really getting the clarity and integrating the lessons that we've been given throughout this eclipse season. That way, whenever Mercury's out of shadow and goes direct, we feel like we really can, we've kind of set the stage behind the scenes. Now we can bring it to fruition. We can start doing these things. This is also wrapped up in this whole, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening with Jupiter soon, and I'm going to actually do like a video on Jupiter, on this transit that we're having, because this is a really potent time for all of the things that we've been working on to really continue to put one foot in front of the other and to create the momentum and the movement to see it come to full fruition. And a lot of this has to deal with this whole Jupiter cycle that we're in right now, that we won't be out of until around this time next year. And so a lot of this started happening back in April. So whatever was going on around the last eclipse, April 30th, there was a Jupiter-Venus conjunction. And these are kind of hot spots, a hotbed for all of us to have a full integration, and for us to be kind of in this period of seeding right now. And all of the energies that I've already explained are really just kind of the nails on the coffin to the seeding event that's happening for all of us. And so some of us can feel this paralysis, especially with Saturn still squaring the nodes, and especially because Saturn's in a fixed sign, so it's feeling stuck for some of us. But with these energies playing out this week, it's very much one of, it's like the train is starting to go. So it's like that, you hear it at first before it starts making headway. You know, it's just kind of chugging along, and pretty soon it's going to pick up a lot of momentum. So right now it's really integral for all of us to be living in the now, but whatever happens and we put one foot forward, well, then we see that there's something else that we need to do. And so it's to continue moving forward. Okay, I did this thing. Now it's time to go to the next, and the next, and the next. And so we're kind of like building up steam this week for this forward momentum that's going to be happening. And for a lot of us, this is a time of seeding thoughts, of doing the groundwork before we can really start, you know, having the momentum to move forward. And so it's really important for us to stay grounded and rooted in our values, not in such a way that we don't see, that we discount the truth of other things. It's just that we're living in our consciousness, but we're living in it in such a way that it continues to expand. So if we're being brought these external sets of in series of events, to continue to use it as teaching moments to build on from the one that happened prior from it, instead of going back or feeling like you're falling back, if you have, you can use it as a way of gauging that you are making forward momentum, because you have an awareness that maybe you stepped out of line and now you need to step back in. So it's definitely a process of integration that all of us are in. We are being revealed so much of our psychological content. It's all coming up for us. It's being seeded back into our consciousness from the subconscious right now, as a way to use it, as a way to move that energy, to expand our consciousness. We're being asked to use it as a spiritualizing tool. And anytime I say spiritualizing, like an atheist could be spiritualizing right now. There are so many different ways. So it's not about this like right way. When I mean spiritualizing, it's a path to growth, no matter what. And so right now, viewing everything as such, that all of this is a path to growth. And we have to continue to move forward in order to really experience the true fruition of what these growth lessons are for us. And so on the 29th and the 30th, we have a new moon happening in the sign of Gemini. And so this is really like signaling to us to really continue to have movement, continue to move forward with our endeavors. This will be a really good time for us to have a ritual of some sort for this new moon, to be able to really impart more wisdom and more learning into what it is that we're all doing right now. You can't learn unless you continue to move forward. And so that's the name of the game this week, and it's the name of the game for this new moon, is that you have to continue to move forward if you want things to continue to move forward for you in your life. So I will do a more detailed video about the new moon happening. I'll probably do it in the middle of the week for the midweek pick-me-up. And I really hope that you guys got a lot out of this. I had a written report done. I can't do it. My computer shut down because I'm here, dealing with electrical issues. So make the most out of this week, and I hope that you guys enjoy this. Much love.